Stop scrolling for just a second. I want to ask you something that might make you uncomfortable. Did you really choose your beliefs? Your belief about hustle culture, your belief about what success looks like, your belief about whether you should wake up at 5 a.m., read 20 pages before breakfast and grind, or whether you should slow down and practice self-care. If you can't remember the exact moment you formed those beliefs, then here's the uncomfortable truth. Maybe you didn't choose them at all. Because right now, as you watch this, an algorithm is studying you. It knows what you laugh at, what you fear at midnight, what makes you angry, what keeps you scrolling. And tomorrow, it will feed you content designed to reinforce what you already think, or to quietly change it. The question isn't whether you have free will. The question is whether you're actually using it. Most of us believe we're free thinkers. We tell ourselves we've made our choices independently. But think about it. 3 years ago, did you care about morning routines? Did you have strong opinions on productivity hacks? Did you wake up feeling guilty if you didn't squeeze meditation, journaling, and a cold shower into your mornings? Probably not. But then, Instagram flooded your feed with morning routine influencers. YouTube kept recommending productivity gurus. TikTok fed you that girl aesthetic videos. And slowly, you started to believe that productivity equals self-worth. You bought a journal, maybe a meditation app, maybe even a ring light to copy the look. That wasn't self-discovery. That was belief installation. And the installer wasn't you, it was the algorithm. Here's how it works. Every platform runs on something called collaborative filtering. In plain English, it means, if people like you believe this, then you should probably believe it too. And so, piece by piece, without ever noticing, your beliefs get handed down to you like a software update. This isn't just theory. In 2021, leaked research from Facebook revealed their algorithms could predict major life changes before the users themselves knew. Who would divorce? Who would change political parties? Who would spiral into depression? And not just predict, but influence. Let me ask you this. Can you name one belief you've developed in the past year? Can you remember the exact moment you decided it? Or did it just appear until it felt like your own? Because right now, as you listen to my words, YouTube is tracking how long you stay, whether you click away, whether you hit like or subscribe. It's building a profile of you, not to understand you, but to sell you. Your mind is not the customer here, your mind is the product. 2,000 years ago, Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." He wasn't talking about social media, but his words have never been more relevant, because if you don't exercise that power, someone else already is, and it gets worse. Try this experiment. Open a private browser window, search for something controversial, climate change, political debates, health advice. Now search the exact same thing on your normal browser. What do you see? Two different answers to the same question. Google isn't showing you information, it's showing you confirmation. Confirmation of what it thinks you already believe. This is what we call the filter bubble. And it isn't an accident, it's profitable. YouTube makes more money when you watch longer. Facebook makes more money when you argue more. TikTok makes more money when you scroll more. And nothing makes you watch, argue, and scroll like content that convinces you you're right and they're wrong. That's why your feed feels so comfortable. That's why it feels like everyone you follow agrees with you. It's not because you've found truth. It's because you've been sorted into a digital bubble. Here's the formula these companies live by. Outrage equals engagement. Engagement equals money. A former Google design ethicist, Tristan Harris, described it as the race to the bottom of the brainstem. Platforms aren't feeding your mind. They're hijacking your nervous system, fear, anger, tribal loyalty, primitive emotions that override reason. Here's a challenge. Can you name 3 beliefs you hold that most people in your social media feed would disagree with? If you can't, that doesn't prove you're open-minded. It proves the algorithm has boxed you into a belief bubble. And it's not just the news or politics, It's what you think is attractive, what you think is funny, what you think is worth your time. The ancient Stoics had a practice called the view from above. They imagined looking down at the world from a higher perspective to see their lives in context, to break out of their own limited viewpoint. That's what we desperately need today. A way to step outside the algorithm, because the system doesn't stop at showing you what you already believe. It's not just reinforcing your views, it's shaping them. Every time you see that little red notification bubble, your brain releases dopamine, not when you read it, not when you respond, just the second you see it. Your phone has become a slot machine in your pocket. And like any casino, the house always wins. The same triggers that make you addicted also change your beliefs, and the platforms know this. They've studied persuasion at a scale no human society has ever seen. Psychologist Robert Cialdini identified 6 principles of persuasion: reciprocity, commitment, social proof, authority, liking, scarcity. Guess what? Every single one of these has been weaponized into your feed. Reciprocity. That influencer gave you free value. Now you feel pressured to buy their course. Commitment. Share this post to prove you care. Social proof. Millions of followers can't be wrong, right? Authority. Someone with doctor in their username said you need the supplement. Liking. The algorithm shows you creators who look, talk, and act like you. Scarcity. Limited time offer. Video might get deleted. Act now. One principle is powerful. All 6 together, that's belief engineering. And it doesn't stop with a single video or post. When you see the same message repeated across platforms, from people who look trustworthy, with numbers to back them up, your brain starts taking it in as fact, no questions asked. You probably think you're immune, that you're too smart, too skeptical. But count your unread notifications. Each one of those is another pull on your dopamine slot machine. Each one is another opportunity for persuasion. This isn't conspiracy theory. This is behavioral science, monetized. Your beliefs aren't just influenced, they're being manufactured. And the worst part? You don't even notice it happening. So what happens when you let algorithms choose your beliefs for you? You become predictable, controllable, profitable. Let's talk about the costs. Not in theory, not in abstract. In real, everyday life, think about body image. Instagram's algorithm figured out that showing young women ideal body types increased time on platform. More scrolling meant more ads. More ads meant more money. The result? Body dysmorphia, skyrocketing anxiety, eating disorders among teens who never asked to have their sense of self-worth dismantled by a feed. Or politics. Facebook learned that divisive content, left versus right, us versus them, kept people clicking, sharing, arguing. Anger equals engagement. Engagement equals profit. The result? The most polarized, hostile political climate in modern history. People who can't even sit at the same dinner table without exploding or shopping. TikTok realized that casual, authentic product placement in influencer content triggered impulse buys. A favorite creator recommends it. You don't question it. You think it's your choice? The result? Whole generations buying things they didn't even know existed 5 minutes ago because the feed decided they wanted it. Your pain, your anger, your insecurity, all turned into someone else's profit. And that's just the personal cost. The bigger cost is collective. When everyone's beliefs are shaped by invisible algorithms, we lose the ability to have genuine conversations. We don't even share the same reality anymore. We don't have a common foundation of truth. Without that, how do you build a democracy? How do you build trust? Harvard professor Shoshana Zuboff calls it surveillance capitalism. Your thoughts, your clicks, your doubts and fears are harvested, packaged, and sold back to you in the form of influence. You're not the customer, you're the raw material. And here's the deeper tragedy. When you don't consciously choose your beliefs, you lose the ability to consciously change them. You inherit other people's fears. You absorb other people's biases. You adopt limitations that don't belong to you. And then you live them out as if they were your own. Seneca, the Stoic philosopher, once wrote, "Nothing is ours except time and mind." But what happens when you hand your mind to an algorithm? What happens when you let others dictate what thoughts take root? You don't just lose your freedom, you lose yourself. And it's not just your thoughts, it's your personality. Your personality today is not the same as it was before you lived online. The change has been slow, gradual, almost invisible, but it's measurable. Stanford researchers call it synthetic personality. Your traits, your humor, your interests, shaped to match your feed. You become an algorithmic reflection of what you consume. Think about it. What made you laugh 5 years ago? What kept you awake at night? What gave you hope? Now compare it to today. Can you honestly say your sense of humor, your fears, your passions haven't been molded by what your feed serves you? That's not coincidence. That's engineering. The feed decides what gets your attention. The feed decides what makes you feel good or bad. The feed decides who you admire, who you despise, what you crave, what you avoid. Attention, emotion, identity, values, all being quietly rewritten. And the strangest part, you don't even notice. You feel like the changes were natural, like you just grew as a person. But in truth, you've been nudged, shaped, sculpted by a machine that doesn't know you, doesn't love you, doesn't care about you. It cares about data. Ask yourself this: what percentage of your daily thoughts are responses to content someone else created? Not your ideas, not your reflections, just echoes of someone else's post, someone else's opinion, someone else's anger. Be honest. If the number is high, then the truth is brutal. You're not just living your life. You're living the life the algorithm prepared for you. The ancient Greeks had a word, eudaimonia. It doesn't mean happiness in the shallow sense. It means living in alignment with your true nature, flourishing according to who you really are. But how can you live according to your true nature if you don't even know where your personality ends and the algorithm begins? Marcus Aurelius used to ask himself every night, what did I do today? What did I think? What influenced me? That was 2,000 years ago, before notifications, before feeds, before TikTok's endless scroll. If it was important then, how much more important is it now? Because here's the scary reality. Left unchecked, the algorithm doesn't just steal your attention. It rewrites your identity. And the longer you leave it, the harder it is to remember who you were before. So if algorithms are installing beliefs, if they're shaping your personality, if they're rewriting who you are, what do you do about it? The first step is awareness. You can't fight what you can't see. And now that you see the game, you get to decide whether to keep playing it on autopilot or take back the controller. Start with this. Audit your inputs. For 1 week, keep track of everything you consume, social media, YouTube, podcasts, news, even the people you talk to. Write it down. Then ask yourself a simple question. Did I choose this content, or did it choose me? You'll be shocked at how little of your daily input is actually intentional. Then, make it harder to consume what doesn't serve you. Create intentional friction. Turn off non-essential notifications. Move social apps off your home screen. Set time limits that force you to pause and think, do I really want to open this right now? Install browser extensions that block distractions. Make mindful consumption the default, not mindless. Next, deliberately seek out diversity. Follow people who disagree with you. Read sources from outside your bubble. Listen to voices from cultures you've never explored. Not to argue, not to attack, but to test your own thinking. If you can't imagine how someone reasonable might disagree with you, then you don't really understand your belief. That's how you build mental flexibility. And here's another crucial step. Develop cognitive immunity. Learn to spot manipulation when it's happening, emotional appeals with no evidence, fake urgency, tribal, us versus them messages, cherry-picked statistics, authority figures with no expertise. The moment you see the trick, it loses its power. Awareness is the vaccine against manipulation. Finally, practice reflection. At the end of each day, ask, what beliefs did I encounter today? Which ones did I automatically accept? Which ones did I question? What evidence did I see? What might I have missed? This practice is called prososci, continuous attention to the state of your mind. The Stoics treated it like brushing their teeth, a daily hygiene of the soul. Do that in the digital age, and you begin to reclaim yourself. But let's go further. Let's talk about building a mental firewall. Here's a simple method. Call it the lanterns method. Pause, probe, perspective, principle, practice. Pause. Don't swallow a belief the moment it appears. Slow down. Ask, where did this come from? Probe. Who benefits if I believe this? What's the evidence? Perspective. How would someone who disagrees respond? Am I only seeing one side? Principle. Does this align with my core values? With the kind of person I want to be? Practice and test it. If I live by this belief, does it make me wiser, kinder, stronger, or does it shrink me? That's how you stop thinking like an algorithm and start thinking like a philosopher. The goal isn't to reject every belief. Some algorithm-recommended ideas might actually help you. The goal is choice, conscious choice, because if you don't choose, someone else already has. Here's your final challenge. For the next 30 days, before you adopt any new belief, before you post, before you repeat something you've heard, stop and ask, am I choosing this, or is it choosing me? If this video changed how you think about your own thinking, share it. The algorithm rewards shares more than anything else, so let's use the system against itself. Spread conscious thinking. Show the world it's possible to step outside the feed. And if you want to join a community of people committed to guarding their minds in a noisy world, hit subscribe. Not because I told you to, not because the algorithm nudged you, but because you chose to. Remember what Viktor Frankl wrote after surviving the worst conditions a human can endure. Everything can be taken from a man, but one thing, the last of the human freedoms, to choose one's attitude in any given set of circumstances. The circumstances today are different. The freedom remains. Your mind, your choice, your responsibility. Choose wisely. For more videos like this, like, share, and subscribe to Quiet Lanterns. And I will see you in the next video.